Well, my name is Erin Ross. I am a mid-career full-time contemporary landscape painter. So I've been doing that, long time now. I guess I've been in galleries for about 12 years. This is my full-time gig.
What do you mean by mid-career? Do you know when your end is? Is that what...
Well, it just means that I'm not an emerging artist anymore. It's sort of a qualification for artists. It just sort of like justifies like price points, and it's an important, I would say, distinction that I'm mid-career. Like I haven't given up. I'm still doing it. Yeah.
That's insane because everyone and their dog says they're an artist. They're like, I'm just an artist, or I'm just starting to be an artist, or I'm just doing this, I'm just doing that.
Yeah.
But then when you say, I've been doing this shit for 15, 20 years, people are like, yeah, this girl knows what she's doing.
Well, yeah, and I don't do anything else. So there's a lot of artists. There's a lot of different types of artists. I hold a BFA. I got a BFA from the University of Alberta. Prior to that, I've been making work before I could recall. I would say precognition. I've been an artist. I got into galleries when I was 9. That was my first big commercial project.
What?
So, yeah, 9 years old. Yeah.
How did you do that?
I was just one of those like weird kids that was really good at it. So everybody kind of identified me as a kid that could draw and paint. So my parents really encouraged it. And then just sort of like one thing I think as soon as like you see that in a kid and you embrace it, one thing kind of leads to another, and doors were opened, and I was given some pretty cool opportunities as a little kid. So it wasn't ever, to be totally honest, it was never a question. It wasn't even an option. Like it was just always going to be what I did. So it was just figuring out how I did it. Basically, how I got from...
That's sick.
Yeah.
As a 9-year-old... Okay, hold on. Going back, what's a BFA?
It's a Bachelor of Fine Arts.
Okay, I did not know.
Yeah. No, I went to school to have a degree. And I have an art history degree. I minored in art history as well. So.
What do you learn in art history? Like you just learn the history of art, like Da Vinci and...
well, that's part of it. Yeah.
Look at he's trying to pull it out his ass, eh?
You learn.
You say one thing, Da Vinci.
Well, I've been really intrigued with Leonardo da Vinci lately.
He's fascinating. Yeah, you definitely learn about him. It's more like it's a broad kind of overview of the history of art. So, I mean, if you think about it, cave paintings are kind of where it starts. Like anything that's a visual representation that was made. Like you learn about everything. I mean, I was more interested in stuff that happened like in the 1900s, basically. Like what would be qualified as contemporary art, I was sort of more interested in. But it's an overview of the whole history of art. So
does contemporary art start in the 1900s?
Contemporary art is it's a confusing term because what it means is like art made now about things that are current, about now, basically. So like it just, I guess it became different in the 1900s because motivations behind making art became different. Things became very politicized. Things became very emotional. People before, like when you're talking about Leonardo da Vinci, he was
the first thing that they started figuring out depth and perception.
It was a vocation like anything else. Like you'd be a doctor, you'd be an artist, you'd be a lawyer, whatever it was. You'd be a lawman. You'd be people who picked a thing, and then you studied it like a science. And you would have to be partnered up with wealthy families, or you worked like it would work any other. It was almost like a trade.
That's kind of cool, but I've never known this before.
Yeah, and then as you moved into the 1900s, like motivations for artists became fractured. Like they were basically wanted to make art that was about stuff that they cared about, as opposed to stuff that other people cared about. So it was less about contract work and more about
That's common with all artists nowadays.
But that's contemporary art,
especially with some of the struggling artists now. I'm just like even with musicians and stuff like that. I'm just like, dude, you make music that makes you happy, but you get complained that nobody else likes it. I'm like, you want to make music that other people want to listen to.
It's a really confusing thing. And you also don't want to get stuck in titles. So even while I'm talking about contemporary art, my guess is I don't know how many people listen to this, but there's probably somebody out there that's that's not the definition of contemporary art, would disagree with what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
So this is certainly, I mean, I'm coming at it, I have an education. I've also sat on multiple arts boards. I've worked as an artist for a pretty long time now. So it's I'm coming at it from certainly a place of education as well as just exposure to things, but it's still going to be, my opinion is going to be different than a lot of other people's opinions on it probably. But the work that got me excited was work that kind of started, the 1900s was late 1800s, 1900s was sort of a starting point for work that was just very different.
What does that even look like?
Yeah, which are the artists of that?
God, I don't, there's...
What would it look like? How do you
that's
explain
the thing
it
kind of became nothing. This is such a big conversation, and it's one of those things. I was just at a birthday party recently, and God, what's that guy's name? Paul. He's a personal trainer, and he used to have that show in the city where he would be like,
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Custom fit.
Yeah, and super nice guy. I never met him before, but he just randomly happened to be my friend's trainer. And so he was asked, so kind of like a bunch of people at the party, they know what I do, but they were like, oh, like people love to be like, contemporary art's bullshit. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, I could do that. And I'm like, well, but you couldn't because you wouldn't have thought of it. So that's kind of the thing about art is that it kind of became nothing during that time period. Like it would be like this would be art. Nothing. Like performance art, sound art, just the absence of a thing could be art. It was all, it wasn't like object driven.
That shit.
It was content driven. Yes. So it was like, but that would be something that took a great deal of effort and thought and time that would led up to that thing being the piece of art. Or like, even if you look at, let's move it away from that back to two-dimensional work because that's my realm.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what is a two-dimensional art piece from 1800? Like what medium did they use? Is
Paint.
it like charcoal or
paint?
yeah,
it's charcoal paint, all of it. Like they were doing stuff. And like it would be like Duchamp is a classic name when this comes up. When things start to shift, Duchamp was an artist who took back art for himself. And he said, fuck you to the literally bourgeois audience who was buying his work. And he said, I'm going to do what I want, which included like authentically erasing somebody else's drawing and then signing his name on it, or masturbating onto a piece of velvet and just framing the
didn't do that.
Absolutely. Google art. There was guys that shit in cans. There was guys that sliced their genitals in half. There was women who put paintbrushes in their vaginas and painted.
No, come on. No. They did that?
Oh, absolutely. You think that's scratching the surface of what people were doing as artists.
This is the kind of stuff that people do for marketing, though. Like, dressing up in
but it has nothing to do.
The street.
It has nothing to do with marketing.
That's not marketing.
It was all of this was coming from an authentic place. All of it. Like it was all important because it changed the realm of art and what art making was about and who it was made for and why we make art. Like it's a really surface take on it to be like, well, I don't understand that. That's super fucked up. That's not art. Well, no, it's not. It's like it's like any of us going into a country we've never been to and being like, I don't get why you're doing that. That's fucked up, and like discounting it. It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
Because that's an insane argument. It's not. It was all very valuable and it was all really important, and none of it should be taken lightly, frankly. Like it was all, but I understand that it's very confusing for people who don't belong and who don't have an educational or peripheral understanding of art history. Like you'd be like, what the hell is that, right? But I do. So I understand that it was like important. Like it literally laid the foundation for what I do now.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip. If you wanted to catch another clip, you can check out this clip up here. Or if you want to catch the full episode, you can click on this link right here and take you to the full episode. Thanks for joining us. I'm Steve Van Diest, and this has been The Thought Exchange, the podcast where nothing is safe.